Hey everyone, welcome to News to Astonish, where we discuss comic book related media and more. I'm your host, Ronnie, and I'll be reviewing Marvel's Iron Fist on Netflix now. Before I get into this review, I just want to clear the air a bit. I want to let you all know that I went into this show without having any of the reviews influence my opinions in any way, shape, or form. I went in with an open mind and fully optimistic, and with that being said, let's open this can of worms. Marvel's Iron Fist stars Finn Jones, Jessica Henwick, and it's a story about a young boy who survives a plane crash in the Himalayas and grows up training in martial arts in a city known as Kunlun. During his time there, he gains the ability to call upon the power of the Iron Fist. This boy, known as Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, returns home in New York City 15 years later after being presumed dead to reclaim his family's company. This is a spoiler-free review, by the way. I'm taking into consideration that some of you haven't seen the show yet since its debut only about 3 days ago at the time of this review. Now, do I like the show? Yes, I do. Is this show perfect? No, it's not perfect. There are some opportunities that could have been taken to make the show better, and of course, I would have done things differently, but it is what it is. The show is very enjoyable. As I said before, the people at IGN and Rotten Tomatoes don't know what they're talking about, so they can go suck it as far as I'm concerned. Let's talk about the bad first. If you're the type of person that hates movies and TV shows that starts off really slow, you're probably going to hate this show. And of course, if you like those kinds of movies and TV shows that take time to develop their characters and flesh them out, you'll definitely like it. As I said, I like the show. There are a few problems with it, but nonetheless, it's an enjoyable show. This show is a slow burner. It really takes time to explore these characters. Questions remain unanswered, however, for like the first 6 to 7 episodes, but it really picks up afterwards. I really don't understand why this show is getting hit with such harsh criticism. The show starting off on a slow start was part of the reason why it received the criticism that it did. If I recall correctly, Daredevil started off a bit slow, but picked up in a few episodes later, and everyone loved it. But yeah, just fair warning, the show starts off slow and then starts to flesh out even more as the episodes progress. One more thing I want to point out, the fight choreography in the show seems a bit awkward at times, and to elaborate on that, I feel as if some of the actors and extras in the show weren't properly trained to make these fake fights look convincing. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the fight scenes seemed incomplete in some ways and felt a tad rushed and inconsistent throughout the show. What I mean by inconsistent, some fight scenes looked better and convincing than others throughout the show, and that was probably the only minor flaw I had with this show. If I had to point out one incredible major flaw with this show, it would be the Meachums. I felt that the show focused too much on these characters. They gave great performances, but I felt that they dove into too much into their storyline, and honestly, it felt like a digression of our main character's story at times, and I didn't really care too much about them. What I really would have loved to see is the times that Danny Rand was training in Kunlun. We get flashbacks of him in Kunlun, but we don't see much of the city at all. These flashbacks are very quick, and it leaves some questions unanswered that made me go, well, I want to see more of that. Give me more of Kunlun. I want to see him interact with the so-called brothers of Kunlun. I want to see his upbringing. I want to see how he managed to leave the city of Kunlun. We get an explanation why he left the city, but honestly, we could have gotten more than that, and that was one of the major flaws with this show, but everything else was fine. Now the good. Our lead, played by Finn Jones, aka Danny Rand / Iron Fist, is fantastic. He gives a great performance. The chemistry between him and some of the other characters are great, especially Jessica Henwick's character, Colleen Wing, and they're awesome together. I really enjoyed their presence throughout the show. This show out of the 4 is the only one that's special effects driven heavy. I really liked how they made Danny Rand's fist glow whenever he'd summoned the power of the Iron Fist. That was always enjoyable and fun to watch, especially that one fist where Iron Fist punches the floor and creates this huge shockwave in a building floor, and that was really awesome and fun. We have familiar characters who have appeared in other Marvel Netflix properties, like Carrie-Anne Moss's character Jerry Hogarth and Rosario Dawson's Claire Temple. These two were fantastic, and it's always a joy having their presence in the show because it shows that there's a connection and Iron Fist is part of this grand universe, and I'm excited to see where the character goes from there. Everyone, the whole thing about the race thing, you know, Iron Fist being white and all, forget about that. Don't listen to those schmucks at IGN and Rotten Tomatoes. Remember that the character is white in the comics. They got that really accurate in this show. I'm glad they went with the decision of casting Finn Jones, and I look forward to seeing more of Iron Fist, and hopefully the creators and writers improve upon some of the things that were amiss in the first season when the second season comes out. Overall, I think the show is great. Yes, there were some missed opportunities. I would have done a few things differently. It's not a perfect show, but it's not as bad as these critics are saying it to be. I'm going to give Iron Fist a B+. Guys, that was my review on Iron Fist. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comment section below. What would you have done differently? Follow me on social media, subscribe for more, and I will see you all in the next comic panel.